Hello, beautiful creatives. It's Mychele with Inner Journey Studios.
And Cheryl from Tinker's Card Art. And we're so excited to paint with you with our Lucky Charm, Lucky Paintings. We're doing little whimsical Irish cottages. Look, we added, a rainbow there, little sheep, little cute cottages. Super easy technique. We know you can do it. It's so easy. And we're going to show you how, easy step by step. So we are just using regular acrylic paint today. You can use your craft paint. If you have heavy bodied, it does not matter. Use what you have.
Use what you have,
paints.
absolutely.
Yep.
And so we started by painting the canvas completely red. So that's going to be our underpainting. That's going to be our base coat. And then on top of that, Cheryl went ahead and sketched.
Just a little pencil sketch, very light. And we're going to start, it's really like coloring in a coloring book, this process.
Cheryl, I just want to show, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I just want to show them really quick. So Cheryl included a tracer. This is her design, which I absolutely love. She included a tracer, which is in the event. So if you go to the event for our lucky house, you'll find the tracer in there. But I wanted to show that there are many different ways you can do it. It's a simple design, so you don't really need a tracer. This is like kind of those little houses we used to make when we were kids, you know, just a little block house and little hills. So you can create your own. It doesn't have to look exactly like ours.
We want it to look like theirs and not ours.
Right.
Because like I say, and you probably heard me say it a million times, I'm gonna paint this one of these little scenes. Not going to look anything like my original one. Mine doesn't look like mine. Don't strive to have yours look like ours. Make it your own. That's what's so fun about art. You can be unique. And it's super easy because once you get your little design on there, we just trace over it with a Sharpie. And then you're just filling in paint by number style your colors. It's so fun, so easy. A technique you can use for all kinds of painting.
Shh, don't tell anyone how easy it is. Let them think that you really had to toil over this one.
So hard.
Yes, but it's super easy.
So we're gonna just trace over the design that's drawn on here with the Sharpie. Simple as that. Ordinary Sharpie, black Sharpie, and you probably have one at home, so you can just grab that. And just going over all the lines, and then it's as easy as filling in with paint. I like the back.
Just to start tracing.
I like a red background because it sort of already takes away the white of the canvas. That can be a little intimidating sometimes. I like little red bits that peek through afterwards, so do not struggle to try to fill up right to the line. It's going to be a little bit more loose and letting the red show through, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I love the way the underpainting, the red, that's the fancy word if you don't know, underpainting, if you want to be fancy about your art. But it's just the color that goes underneath, and what's really nice about it, you can see in these paintings, it just peeks through in some places and adds a little extra drama to it, a little extra oomph to your painting. And Cheryl, you can do this with like any painting, right? You can put an underpainting on anything, right?
I did this, and I believe it's probably on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of free videos on YouTube, and I did it with a lighthouse and an ocean design with some boats. So it doesn't have to be just a whimsical little thing like this. You could do it any kind of a scene, especially if it was more detailed. Wouldn't it be fun just to sketch with your Sharpie all the details, and then you're going in,
so
and the colors would only take a minute. You wouldn't have to spend a lot of time. So fun. Because of the red background, some of the craft paints aren't as opaque as I'd like. It's simple. Just put on a coat of the color. It's going to be very washy sometimes. Let it dry. I sometimes put up to 3 different coats quickly of some of the little patches on there just to get the color a little brighter. And so just work at it little by little. You can see how different some of these are. I've done night sky and daytime, moon and sun, super easy to do. I'll show you that technique. And on this one, it's a little bigger. I won't do it for the small ones, but see the little spirals I put in the sky just to add to the whimsy? Just a little bit of spirals there if you like.
I love the spirals.
I do too.
I think I might do the spirals.
Yeah, we have our canvases big enough to do that.
I think
If you want a night sky, you just paint your sky dark blue. I'll do a night sky, and Mychele, do you want to do a day sky?
I'm
And
gonna
then
do
we'll have
day,
them a
yeah.
little different.
Yeah,
So
that'll be fun.
that will be what we'll do when we get our things all sketched. We don't leave the sun or moon blank yet. We'll paint the whole blue sky. Then when that's dry, and I do this for lots of my night and day skies, is then I will just put a little bit of a white underpainting for
We're
the
so
sun or
fancy.
moon, and then the yellow will cover nicely. Yellow is notoriously translucent.
All right, I got it all right.
Perfect.
Did I get it all?
Yes.
All right.
So just simple little tracings.
And you can see even this, they're both a little different.
Yeah, we want them
And it's going to be
different.
fun
Embrace
because
the
it's your
differences.
own house, right?
Mhm.
It's yours. It's your personality.
Yeah.
And what colors? We don't need to use any specific
No,
colors, right?
I put
Any
out a
color you
variety.
want.
Now you could go very simply with your primaries if that's what you have and mix. We have a lot of different colors. I like some teals and pinks and things, some blues for the sky. Use what you have. You don't have to have specific colors or use what we're using. I just put a variety. Mychele and I just brought our paints. Actually, we are away. Actually, we're coming to you in the kitchen of our little house that we have in Destin, Florida for an art retreat. Well, not just art retreat.
No,
more
it's a
creative
business. It's creative business retreat.
retreat with other business owners.
Yes.
And so we are having a blast and we're learning a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But we are coming to you from our little rental here, so that's why it might not
So
look
we've
as
got-
professional as
You're
we
in
do
our
sometimes.
cozy little kitchen, in our cozy little cottage. This is really what we think our cottage looks like.
Right
But
near
not
the beach
exactly,
in
right,
Destin.
except it's the beach, but you know, so yeah.
And I have
it's
painted
fun.
these little cottages with, instead of the patchwork hills in the back, or else a little bit of water, and then the hill could be behind it too. So you could add a little water
yeah.
element in here if you
That
wanted
would
to.
be nice.
Okay, we'll start with the sky. Many times when I'm painting, I don't know, but I
I
start
do
at the
too.
top and go down, so I'm not putting my hand in the wet paint. So we'll do our skies first.
Yeah, I
And then
often
work our way
go
down.
top to bottom and then left to right where it makes sense to do that for that exact same reason, because you don't want to be, if I start over here as I'm painting, I'm going to be dragging my hand across
Yep.
the wet
If
paint.
you're
So
right-handed.
I try
You
to
have
avoid that.
right-handed.
I think I'm right-handed.
Yeah, so that's,
I'm right-handed.
it might be different if you were left-handed.
I
but-
think I'm right-handed. No, I'm right-handed.
So skies, we're just using simple, not expensive synthetic brushes. We have some flats and we have some rounds. I'm getting a bit of a larger, it's a 12 flat for my sky. Yours is the same, a different brand. I'm doing a dark sky, so I'm taking the dark blue and I might add a little black to it. If you have a navy or a Prussian blue, you could grab that. And I would
do a little
I do
of
that
this
with
with a
some
little bit of
whites.
white,
That's
right?
what I use for
So
mine.
which one is this?
Tiny
This is
bit
one of
of,
yours.
that's like more of an ultramarine.
Is that an
I think. I have a
ultramarine?
phthalo over
And
here.
then I'll just pull
Yeah.
a little bit.
And I just
That's
start
what I was
painting
thinking.
it. Can't see it so much on this, but I lots of times use just a little crisscrossy stroke, so I'm not just doing back and forth and having it look a little bit like water. If I'm doing an ocean or water, I will definitely go back and forth and streak white through it. But I just want coverage here. And again, I'm not worrying too much about covering all of the red. I'm just covering most of it.
Well, it's nice to have a little of it peeking
I like
through.
that, yeah.
Because when you're working on canvas, you know, the canvas has, I call them holes. They're not really holes. It's the texture of the canvas.
The nooks and crannies,
And
I call
it's
them.
nice when you have a little bit of the red popping through, because it really gives, again, it gives a little bit of dimension to it that you don't get if you painted a solid color. So it's also why I like mixing the colors together, like a little bit of the blue and the white. I might pull in a little of this also.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a little white in this afterwards just to give it some dimension, but right now I'm
yeah.
going pretty dark. It's just my ultramarine blue, a little bit of black. But you pick out a blue shade that you like. It doesn't have to be the same, of course. I love the way the light blue skies look on red, isn't it? Funny,
It's
I don't know
so
why, but I
pretty.
just love the way it pops.
Well, turquoise and red is such a fun color
Yes.
combination anyway. And I know this isn't exactly turquoise, but it's that same idea, that blue with the red. It's a nice drama.
So I've just covered it with the dark.
Are you done with yours already?
Well, no, I'm gonna add some white, but so I'm taking just a tiny little touch of white on the corner of my brush.
And remember with
Patting it
this,
off.
you can pause the video.
Yes.
So you have the recording, this is the replay. If you can't paint as fast as Cheryl or I, really Cheryl, she's much faster than I am, but feel free to pause, you can rewind it, you can fast forward
That's
it.
what's good about the recordings. So I just took a little tiny white corner of my brush, patted some off, and just put it right into the wet paint. I want it wet and wet. That's why I work fast a lot of times. I want it wet and wet. And I know it's a night sky, but you know how you see a little bit of constellations or whatever. Is that what it would be?
Yeah.
Far off. So it just gives it a little depth and dimension.
Like the Milky Way.
Yeah. And then we'll worry about the moon later. So it's just the sky first. And if you'd like, you could paint the edges of your canvas as you go. That finishes them off kind of nicely.
But you can also leave them red.
Oh, or paint
which
them
can
a dark
be,
color.
or paint them
color
a
that
dark
matches.
color. Yeah. So sometimes some people like to, I always call it, have the painting drip over the sides. That's what I always think, like it's melting over.
Yeah.
And if you like it to cover the whole thing, paint as you go so that you've got it uniform with whatever you're using at the time. If you want it to leave it red, you can leave it red, or if you want to paint it dark, I would do that at the very end. So you have choices. Cheryl, you're painting yours all around.
I am, just because
I'm gonna leave mine red. I kind of like the red.
I never thought of that. All the paintings I do with the red, and I haven't thought of leaving it red. All right. I think that was fun. Just the little scar bits.
So I would love to hear, because I know you've done a lot of traveling to Ireland, and you owned for many years an Irish shop.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to hear a little bit more of your inspiration for this. Like, was there something specific, or memories, or
if you've been to Ireland, or even if you just know a little bit or seen pictures, you see the sheep are everywhere, especially in the spring, the baby lambs everywhere. Typical iconic Ireland, sheep's everywhere. So I incorporate the sheeps. Sheeps. And we really, truly, you fly into the country and you really, just like in images and illustrations, you see those 40 shades of green fields. Those fields are patchwork green, brilliant green, because of all of the rain. The green is amazing. When they say the Emerald Isle, it's true. But I did a little take on them where I just made them different colors. I used to do them just in the shades of green, and then I started adding like a turquoise green, and then I started adding yellows, and then I got into purples and pinks, and anything goes. And I like that look. It's like a patchwork quilt. But you could be a little more true to Ireland and just do various shades of green as well.
That would be pretty too, to do all green.
So that's
or
where
if
that
you wanted to be
inspiration
funky,
came
you
from.
could do like all shades of blue or purples, or you could really take this in any direction.
I've done this style in a lot of my Irish paintings. I've done some big rectangles with, if you go into the Claddagh section of Galway, where the Claddagh ring originated, you'll see all the little colorful rows of houses and the stone harbor area, and then boats. So it's a very detailed scene, but because I take my time sketching and then I just do it with the marker, it's like I don't know, color, like
a
paint by number,
like paint by
or
number,
like it's relaxing, kind
yeah.
of filling in all the bits and drawing the little things.
You could even do that with this. You kind of have like there's each of, and we'll go through it when we get there, but each of the little rectangles here, the quilt pieces, have a different design in, but you could really get detailed with that too if you wanted, like with a little marker, a real thin micro marker or something, and get in and really
And if you used
doodle it.
Maybe a wood panel, instead of the textured canvas, you could really get nice even lines too. So there's lots of ways. Try the technique and see what you think. And I'd love to see what you come up with too, because you can take this and do a still life. You could do it any kind of a drawing that you've done, or if your kids have drawn a drawing, wouldn't it be fun to transfer your kids' drawing on?
That would be
and then even let them paint it in, but do the Sharpie, and that would be
a great
really fun.
idea.
So, and then I really just go to my patches, and it's maybe a little tedious, but I enjoy it. If you find a small flat brush, something that's maybe the size, and this is a little small, but we're just using small flat brushes now. I don't know if you can even see the tip of that. And I'm
So this is showing that it's a size 2, if anybody's wondering.
I
And I'm
think
not
you could
sure
do
is
a
that
4 and a
you
6
could do a 4 or
even.
6, yeah. And I might even have like, here's a
Yes,
4
that might
if
be
you
like
wanted to go a little
size of
bigger
your
with
little
it.
squares.
So, just first off, use what you have. Whatever you have, you can make that work for this. And then, kind of go from there, see how it works.
And like I said, the craft paints I find are a little bit translucent,
So
I'm going to add a little
white.
white to some of them. That gives us a base, let it dry, and then you can get a little bit brighter shade of the color on top afterwards. Depending on the paints that you have, I know that I use a lot of the Liquitex fluid acrylics, and those have a little bit more coverage. But I want you guys to start with what you have. So
I'm just painting a couple of them white.
you could do that,
So that they can dry.
Put some yellow on
yep.
top of it after.
And that way I've got a couple of them
I'm gonna
just
do that too.
arbitrarily. There's no rhyme or reason, so I'll show you here what I've got going on. There's no rhyme or reason. I'm just doing a couple of them white to start so they can dry while I'm painting some of the darker colors that maybe don't need that white underneath them. But that way I've got it.
And we're not trying to be careful and get a perfect line and sign and touching the marker and getting them just right. I'm putting them in fairly quickly. Sometimes I go over the little black line, sometimes I go too far in, but that's what adds a little hand painted touch to it. You don't want it to look like it came, from a factory or it's a photograph. You want it to look fun and whimsical and colorful.
Yes, what I love best about this is that it really is very free form, but yet at the end it looks great. I mean, you can see, like, when you look at it, it's like, wow, that's amazing. And when you look close, it still looks amazing, Cheryl. I'm not saying it doesn't.
No,
but when you look close, you can see how not everything is perfectly square, perfectly in the line. Yeah. We still have some of the red showing, some of the black is showing, some is covered up. So this lends itself well to be just, relaxed with it, enjoying it. It also would be a great one if you have kids or grandkids. Wouldn't this be a fun one to do with your grandkids and kids?
I think so.
Because you don't really have to be precise with it.
Right. And everyone, even if you're a little new to painting and you're a little bit hesitant with the brushes for the details, drawing it with the marker makes it feel like
a little less intimidating, maybe. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this. This is so much fun.
Isn't it? Yeah. And this doesn't have to just be a little spring or St. Patrick's Day project. This could be any time.
Wouldn't this be a cute housewarming gift for someone?
Yes, because if you did it bigger on a canvas, I sometimes put their
name
over the door
or number
or on a mailbox or something.
Oh, that would be super cute.
Great for like even like a wedding or a shower gift. Yeah, there's all kinds of things to do.
Yeah,
all kinds of ways to personalize it.
So I'm just right now adding some blues. I added like a tealy green color.
Yeah, I'm just going into most of the colors and adding a little white sometimes to it just to get it a little more opaque. And I'm going to go back after and just quickly put a little second coat. And I don't mean even as much work as we're doing here, just kind of swipe it on and move on.
Don't be afraid to mix your colors also.
Yes.
Like, don't be afraid
all kinds of shades from the colors we have here. I'm throwing in, a number of green bits, but I am actually getting a lot of colors in there as well.
Now, Cheryl, I noticed, you have your napkin kind of damp, and you're just wiping it off like that?
It's just damp because when
okay, so you are putting it in the water
I just don't
first.
like to have any water in my brush when I'm painting with acrylics at all. I'm got a paper
You
towel
like
in my hand all the time, and I'm really
Oh,
drying it off.
That's a great idea.
Because it's translucent enough, unless I want a washi technique.
It's what I love about painting with other people, and doing tutorials like this from a wide variety of people. Like, I've been painting mostly my whole life, and I'm still learning stuff from Cheryl today.
Oh, and I learned the things from you too, so it's like we learn from all the people.
But every time you take a class from somebody, whether it's us or somebody else, no matter how long you've been painting or creating, you can learn from that person. There's always something, some little nugget, I feel, that you can take away. Do you feel the same? I'm not being rude about that.
I love
I'm not the only one.
I love watching other people paint and taking other classes, learning new techniques. It's not like I want to copy the whole routine, but you'll find a little, like you said, little nuggets of helpful hints or ways of doing things that you can incorporate into your own art, which is fabulous. So it is a little bit like you're building up your little field here. And
oh my gosh!
by the time I get done, I can go back with my initial
I like
squares. I love this teal too.
That's really pretty. Yeah, isn't that teal pretty? I like that one too.
Mix up a dark teal with these colors as well.
Did you add a little white to your pink?
I have been adding white to most things to get it to cover. The teal's covering pretty good, but some of the colors are pretty. Yeah. So it looks, It's not as brilliant as it's going to be because I have a lot of white underpaintings, and now I'm going to go back and just put the brighter colors in.
So I have to say, the ones that I added the white to, so I'm painting the pink over it, and you can see the pink gets nice and vibrant because I had that coat of white down
I'm putting a
first.
second coat of white on some just so I can get a bright yellow.
Oh, that's
maybe.
a good idea, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is turning out so cute. I love this.
So fun. And this takes a little while, but still, you'll see how quickly we complete this project. It's not going to be anything that takes a long, long time.
No. And it turns out so good. It's just really
And again, it's a
cute.
new technique to put in your toolbox.
And that's really the best, is just having these different ideas. Like Cheryl said, you can do exactly what we're doing with the little cottage, but you could also do this with pretty much anything. Wouldn't it be cute to do like a seascape? So this would be the sea or the ocean, and you could use different blues and greens and whites in it to have the rolling wave type feel. Like there's so much you could do. I love this.
And as we do these, Mychele, why don't you tell us a little bit about your business,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
we can
And then,
just let people, in
yeah.
case you haven't seen us before, know who we are and what we do.
So as I said at the beginning, I'm Mychele with Inner Journey Studios, and my main focus is mixed media. So doing this is really fun for me because usually I'm working with a lot of different elements and a lot of different types of medium all at one time. So strictly being with the acrylics, I'm loving doing this process. So I do a lot of the art journaling. I teach busy women how to relax and enjoy themselves through art journaling. And we do a lot of different techniques and exploration and trying just a wide variety of things that, for example, as acrylic painters, you can bring back and do even within your acrylic paintings. Because I know Cheryl's taken some of my classes, and I've had we have a great time, and I've had other professional painters and all different levels come in, and there's always something. We're always just playing with new techniques and playing with new mediums, and we use a little bit of everything. I like to say I throw everything but the kitchen sink into my art journals. And sometimes the kitchen sink might end up in there too. So it's just fun. You can come follow me, check me out at Inner Journey Studios. I'm on Facebook and Instagram under both of those. And we just have a good time creating and having fun and being relaxed about it. Because I don't know about you, well, I do know Cheryl feels the same way. Painting and creating art should be relaxing. It should be fun for you. Something that you can feel good about at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's just, everyone loves to create things that does, even if it's not painting, if it's knitting or if it's quilting or just that feeling of accomplishment and using your creativity in different ways. And so it's nice if you're a crafter of some other sort to maybe even try journaling or mixed media or painting. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to be born with knowing how to draw. You don't have to, all these things that keeps people from pursuing something that they might love.
They think it has to be like somebody else's. Like you look at what somebody else has done and think, oh, well, mine doesn't look like that, therefore. But it doesn't have to be like that because you have your own voice. Exactly. Too. So that's what I like to encompass in my classes and in all that I share is you get to express yourself through your art. You get to play and have fun and just try different things out and see what you like in a non-judgmental, fun environment where people are cheering you on wherever you are on your creative journey. And Cheryl, I know, tell us a little bit about yours because you're very similar with how you teach your acrylic paintings.
I try to, I do teach acrylic painting, but I do it in a very easy to follow step-by-step method so that if you've never touched a paintbrush before, you can start. And if you are a little more accomplished and you're looking for ideas and new designs, like I said, we still are finding all kinds of help and new ideas from other instructors and other people and other artists But I'd like to get people to jump into painting that haven't tried it before, because I don't think it's something that's just for a special few who are born with talent. I think, of course, there are people who are born and they can draw anything, and that's great, but it doesn't exclude anybody else. When I do classes and things, I'll give you the tracer, so you can trace it on. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not striving to make our paintings look like photographs, because we can always take a picture.
We all have iPhones or Androids or smartphones.
So I just want to encourage people to try painting and just jump in. And I have also social media presence and art memberships and Tinker's Cart Art. You'll find me in all of the places. And YouTube, if you want to just try a few classes. There's a lot of free classes there. Jump right in and try them. Contact me if you have any questions. I'll walk you through things and help you get going. So it's funny because we're painting the same design, but you're going to see how different that they come out, just because we have our own personality and our own way of working.
Yeah, here we can just show. I'm still working on mine, but you can see they're just different, but they both work.
Yep.
Right? They're both fun.
I think while I am just waiting now for that to dry a little bit, I might just put some stars in my sky. There's a couple different ways. Sometimes when I'm doing skies or I'm doing snow, I'll take an old toothbrush, thin down my white paint, and just spatter it, and it makes a cool spattering. It's great for snow too, snowmen.
Oh yeah.
But on this, I'm not going to. I'm going to do. I like the more graphic look of just taking. You could take a stylus, a toothpick, the end of your brush, whatever, and just dot. So really, if you're a little intimidated with making the little dots, really. End of your paintbrush, dip it in your paint and just dot it on. I have a little stylus at home that I use for that. You can use a toothpick. So I'm going to just place them on. I'm not going to do the spattering of the skies. I want it to be more a little graphic. So I'm going to thin my paint down a tiny bit with water so it's a little more loose. We're using a thick-bodied white paint. So I want to have it just a little thin down. And I do thin down my paint quite often, whatever I'm painting with. As it dries and as you're painting, and if I'm doing a fine detail line, I want to add water, make it more like ink than heavy paint. But I'm just going to go in and just here and there dot my little stars in. And when we're ready to do the moon and the sun, it's very simple. I take a brush and swirl on some white. We'll do that when we both get to that point. But just as a little aside, we're not trying to make a perfect circle. I just let the brush do the work. I swirl it in there, and the way it comes out is the way it stays. So really just little dots for a little night sky.
Oh, I love that. That turned out perfect.
Now you could very well leave your patchwork hill like that. But I don't know, you're a little like me, we like to go one more step.
We like to, gotta do a little bit more.
So I'm gonna show you up close. We're gonna add just little stripes, if you wish, and little wiggles. So see the little patterns on the squares? And see how imperfect those squares are? I have little squiggles, little dots. I've made little hearts here. You could just stipple a color. I don't do it on all of them. But if you want to go that next step, you can. I even did it on the little tiny one, and it's not quite so detailed, but mostly just little dots and little stripes here and there. So it's a little more whimsy to the painting. And I do it the same way. I keep my paint thin down with a little water. I'll do some white stripes maybe, light green. It could be any color. You just want something that will show up on the little base that you have. But some could just be simple as little dots. Some could be just little stripes. The trick of getting these little tiny details in is really keeping your paint thin enough so it flows like ink. We are painting on canvas. It's a little bumpy with the nooks and crannies. Don't worry about being perfect line because you won't get a perfect line. You could use paint markers for this little detail too.
Oh, that'd be a good idea too if you had paint markers.
Paint markers, the thing is, make sure your painting is super duper dry.
Yeah.
If it's
really,
even
really dry.
damp the tiniest bit, it will seize your marker up. I have gone through more markers, especially in class. So even let it dry till the next day and come back and put your little details on. But the paint markers are fabulous for details. If you're a little hesitant about painting, just get a couple paint markers. You could just get a white one even and use it. I'm doing quite a bit with the white, and then I might go into maybe a light yellow. Like I said, whatever color you want to throw on your brush, try it on there. If it shows up, keep at it. little dots, little stripes.
Now, Cheryl, if I want some of the swirls like on this,
Oh,
do you recommend I do that before? I should do that now and let that dry before,
And that
right?
is a matter of really thin. Can you see? It's almost like a wash.
Yeah.
I don't want to do a heavy spiral so everyone's just looking at the sky and seeing spirals. It's a little texture that's going to blend with the background.
So I'm going to water it down,
really
right?
watered down.
Yeah.
And I just sort of, it's just like I'm going to do my sky almost. I'll do it on my grass just to show you. I just plunk the paintbrush down in the middle and spiral out. And then I just plunk it down, and maybe the next one I'll spiral the opposite direction. It's really tougher on the the textured canvas. But yeah, so it's just a matter of, they could be little ones, they could be big ones. I'll go close up. I'm going to paint over this with green, but that's just to show you the stroke that Mychele's putting on her sky. I put spirals on everything. I love spirals. Yeah. It just, again, adds a little
You
more
can do like
whimsy.
big ones, little ones.
And I do that as a decorative touch in all kinds of
So let's
backgrounds.
see, if I do it, I'm just going to bring it like this. I got a little one there. That one turned out more circle-like, but I'm not even going to worry about it. So, like, they don't have to be exact.
And I'm just putting a few more finishing touches on my little squares, my little patches. I might put little red hearts on top of the pink ones.
Yeah, it definitely needs to be nice and
Hearts are
watered
pretty
down.
simple to make too, in just 2 strokes. I'll show you on something here. Let's see. Maybe on the back of the canvas. Let me come up so you can see. Actually, I'll do it on this little paper plate. I'm gonna try it. I'm getting to be quite an upside down painter. I just use 2 little strokes. So I just do a little comma stroke, and you can get a little heart shape. Very easy, just stroke, stroke. And they're gonna look like little hearts. They might not be perfect, but from a distance. And remember, when you're painting, people are looking at your paintings from a distance. No one is looking at it like this. No one's judging and saying, oh look, that's really crooked. No one's gonna,
No.
4 feet away.
No, the only thing they're gonna say is, oh my gosh, that's amazing. You painted that?
Yeah.
And you're gonna say, why, yes, I did. And you're gonna own it. And if they don't say something nice, they don't get invited back to my house. I make sure to surround myself by people that are supportive and loving and all the things.
Yeah, I'm using it back into the brush to dot some of those.
Oh, we're dotting now.
I'm dotting and striping and little
Do you
hearts.
use all what? Oh, you use different colors.
You can do
I
whatever you
that.
like, yep. I'm just kind of figuring out what might look good on something. And if it's going to be a yellowish stripe or whatnot, I add a little white because again, it's going to not show up. But on the green, I might just do a little yellow stripe. Some squiggly lines.
This is my favorite part. So in my art journaling, I do a lot of doodles. You know,
very
where
much
you
like
just
doodling.
yeah, it's just like doodling, and I find it to be so relaxing and meditative to just sit and put some doodles and experiment and try. And the fun thing is they don't have to be exact. Like doing stuff like this, it's just you relax, put some stuff on, move on.
This is like the Zentangle. Right?
Totally, yeah.
You could just do a big canvas of just patchwork.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Mm-hmm. I had forgotten, but I've done a lot of patchwork things
now that
over
you
the
say
years.
that, now I want to do that. I do quilting also, like sewing quilting, real quilt. Not that this isn't a real quilt. Why am I'm like trying to get myself out of something I wasn't in. So I do quilting, and I would love to do a canvas, just like a quilt. Like that would be.
We did a thing in our town once, many years ago. You know how the different towns have the big icons and they paint them? I think in Lakeland is swans and Nashville has guitars. Well, I come from Massachusetts and we have lots of apples, so we did big plastic apples, and I painted a whole apple all patchwork. I gotta find the pic. I've got to find the pictures of that.
There's so many ways
It's been
that
years,
you can
but it was so fun.
incorporate this basic technique into whatever you want it to be. A heart would be really cute too. I know Valentine's Day has already passed. Oh, a shamrock if you wanted to do a decoration
shamrock. Good
for
idea. You can just get the shamrock kind of at the dollar store, I think.
oh my gosh, they do have them, the
do
wood
segment
ones.
later on
Yes,
today.
not today, but soon.
That's a good idea.
Yes.
I've done it on ceramic pieces. Like if the ceramic piece is sort of plain, like a big sitting cat I did once, and just covered it with patchwork.
Let us know in the comments if you would like us to get like a wooden shamrock from the dollar store or whatever,
paint that
something
up.
like
We'll do
that,
that.
and paint that and do a tutorial for
That would
that.
be
Let
fun.
us know in the comments because I would love to do that.
Yes.
And we can do this exact same technique,
Yep.
right?
And what I did when I
Oh
did
my
something
gosh,
bigger
how
like
cool.
that is after I did the patches, I sort of just gave them little stitch marks. In something big, not anything little like this. It would be just too much, but yeah.
Cheryl, I can see your decorative painter coming out because I know you did a lot of decorative painting back in the day.
Yes.
And I can really see that with a lot of what you do. Okay, so I'm still behind.
Yeah, you can just do little dots and whatnot. And we can even touch, do those a little bit afterwards.
That's
sort
true.
of
It
let
doesn't all have to be right now.
But we just want everybody to get the idea of how we built this little painting out. I think we should probably do the sun and moon next, and then we can work down again.
Yeah, I love that.
This is a great technique for sun and moon on lots of things. I have some hog bristle brushes at home I like that are kind of scraggly and a harder bristle. We're working with what we have here on our little retreat, but you can certainly just use, I'm going to just use a round, which is what size? Probably something like a 7 or an 8. It's a little bigger, if you can see that. And I just go ahead in, and like I said, I do it in white first because I know my yellow is going to be translucent. So I'm going to just take white. I'm going to thin it down, and this will be the same for your sun as my moon.
This is basically the kind of brush you have.
Yeah, I don't think it
something
really
like
much
that?
matters.
Okay.
I like it when it comes. So I'm going to show you how I do it, but look how scraggly the edge of that is. I put my brush in the middle of this, spiral it out, let the paint get dried, and then you get these little rough edges.
I like
Instead
that.
of a perfect circle. Once you try for a perfect circle, it's never going to look right.
Mm-hmm.
So I simply just do it. I'll go close, and I just place the brush anywhere. Just plop it down, and then I'm just spiral. This is a little awkward because I'm doing it upside down, but spiral, and get that rough edge.
That's brilliant.
Just like that, and then we are incorporating another spiral in.
And I love this
Just like
because I always try to get the perfect circle. I'm the one
too.
that tries
I
to
used
do
to,
it.
now I don't.
And I would
This
take
works.
like stencils or I would trace something and it just never worked out. And you did this and I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. Why
I will
have
do
not done
another
that?
coat once it's dry. So let's just
Yeah.
leave it and let it dry. Another coat of white navy, and then when that's dry, we'll do the yellow. Now, sometimes the yellow comes out really bright, and I just take a little white while that's wet and go inside of it, and that really accentuates
Oh,
the spiral bit. So let's let that sit a minute.
Okay.
Cottage is super easy. I just want to make it look like a little stuccoed cottage. So can you see I put white in there?
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not
But
trying
you
to be
leave the
even.
door red, don't you?
Yes, but you can paint the door any
Yeah.
color you want to.
Okay, but I like
I'm gonna
that.
leave it red, but you could put it whatever color you like. You see a lot of cottages in our own with the half doors. You could just paint half of it dark at the top and make it look like one of those half
How
doors.
cute would that be?
You could put a little sheep's head peeking out, but we won't go there because I tend to go too detailed. Anyway, so I would just fill in any brush. You could use any brush. I'm filling it in with the white, but I'm not being real careful. And it's
Now, are you going to
see-through.
fill the whole thing, including the roof, the thatching on the roof,
I'm
or are
going to
you
do the
just
thatching of the
doing?
roof a little bit darker
Okay.
with that yellowy ochre color. But see how it's, look at how much I've left peeking through. Very rough, I'm not going to the edges. And what I do is I let that dry and maybe put another coat, maybe more towards the middle of things so that it's a little brighter there. But just the little strip along here, I kind of just do it like a little line. So this is the anti-perfectionist project because we are just,
Anti-perfectionist, I love that.
I just made that up.
Well, I love that though. We should start a movement on that, right?
In our spare time.
Yeah, in our spare time. But I love that because I know a lot of us, when we sit down to do these projects, we're trying to get them perfect. We're trying to get them to look like the instructors or to look like the person
Not
that
perfect.
next to us or whatever it might be. And it's nice having permission to just, do it however it's going to turn out.
And then I let it dry, even if it dries very fast because we're not using heavy paint. And then I'm just taking it and just putting it on here and there a little heavier till it gets to how it looks like a little thatch. I mean, a little stuccoed cottage. Little strokes. And again, this is how I do it. If you want to be much neater, you could go ahead and get a little nicer line work or whatever you like. Again, it's fun to see techniques and then you make them your own. Whenever you're watching an instructor, it's not imperative to do it just as they say. That's the problem. Don't you? You find it probably too. So many people a little older will say, oh, but you know, my art teacher said I couldn't paint. I was putting the music, I was putting the music class instead, or something else.
Yes, I always
Don't
talk
let that
about.
ever stop you, because back in the day, it seemed like you had to paint a certain way.
Yeah.
And this is how you do it, and that's wrong. There's no wrong. There's no wrong. We just do
Well,
whatever
and
we
some
want.
art was valued and some wasn't.
Yeah.
And I feel like that scared a lot of people off. It scared me off. I didn't do art for many years because I
Some random art teacher that
I failed,
didn't like your style.
I
or
failed
something.
middle school art, if you want to believe it or not. I got like a D or an F in middle school art because
Shouldn't even be grading.
my apple like still life did not, it was out of proportion and the apples didn't look right, and because they put it in front of us and said draw this, and I drew what I could. So
That's
it was
probably enough.
years before I
Good.
did, and I hear that a lot from other people. Isn't that fun?
I do too, so that's what
Yeah.
I wanted to say. How many people come to my paint nights? I do the paint nights a lot in person and online, and they'll be so hesitant and so afraid, and they are so excited when they leave, and they go and buy paints. I love that, go and buy paints. And
Isn't that
they
the
wanna,
best?
Because, you know, they're the boss of themselves now. They can do what
Yeah.
they want. It doesn't matter what some art teacher in 3rd grade said.
Well, and they realize that it doesn't have to be perfect to be good. Like your art
If you
is
like
your
it,
art.
that's good enough.
Yeah.
Like colors
And-
you like.
And the thief of joy is comparing it to other people's,
Yes, I
right?
love
Like
that.
if I sit here and compare mine to Cheryl's, I'm gonna be like, oh, mine's not very good. It's not just like hers, and well, mine looks like mine.
Right,
You
I
know,
wanna
mine
get
has
this.
my personality. It has my skill in it. It's in full disclosure, it's the first time I'm painting this particular painting. You know, I've painted a lot, but you know, I'm sitting here painting this and using what I know and what Cheryl's sharing, and you know, we learn with every person that we take a lesson with, right? Don't you feel
Yes.
that? Like you learn something, and every painting I do, I learn something new with every single art page I do, art journal page,
Things that
mixed
you
media
like,
page.
things that you do again,
Yeah.
things that you won't do.
Things that I go, oh, that's really cool.
That works.
I want to incorporate that. Like, I guarantee you, within the next week, when I start doing some of my art journaling next
You'll
week,
incorporate little bits.
there will be bits of this thrown
love
in,
that.
but it won't necessarily be exactly this. Although I probably will do one of these in my art journal also, just because
you
it's so
should.
much fun.
It's a great little spring project.
And I love doing that. I love trying out
Fun.
what other people have taught me. So yeah, don't be afraid. I guess my rambling on that was, don't be afraid. Even if somebody told you you can't draw or you're not an artist, I hear that also. Well, my family said I'm not the artist, my sister's the artist. Do you hear that? I hear that a lot from people. Or my brother's the artist. You know, my family said I was the writer. My family said I was the homemaker. You know, they label each person. And so then these people go, well, I'm not an artist. I can't really do this.
Right.
But clearly,
And
if
forget
you're
where
here,
that even came from. So many years
Yeah.
ago, that might not even, it's not even valid.
But if you're here, you are an artist because it's saying you want to be. All an artist is showing up and creating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I put a little second coat of my spiral
Oh,
on.
I should have done that before I washed.
And you can see how it's really a painting, filling in the little areas of paint by number a little bit.
I love this. This is so much fun.
And then when that dries, then we'll put that yellow in and it will come to life.
I always love how you teach too, Cheryl, because I'm in Cheryl's membership also, and she just, it's so relaxing, and you do a little of this and a little of that, and you know,
It's
it always turns out. It always turns out, no matter what you do, it's gonna turn out.
I just filled in the roof area with it's a yellow ochre color. I think if it's in Deco Art, it's called deep ochre, but just that little deep gold. And you have a membership too for your journaling,
Yeah, we
Michele.
do the Creative Kaleidoscope art journaling membership, where we do art journal pages every month, and we change the theme and the art prompts, and we create some really fun stuff. And that one is really about exploring art in all its many different formats, but we just put
I
it in
love
an art
that.
journal. Because I find sometimes, not for this, because these are little and fun and easy, but sometimes
you can
creating on a
incorporate.
canvas can be like, I hear people, well, you know, it's more expensive. You don't necessarily want to experiment always
You're
on a
afraid to
canvas. You're
start
afraid.
it.
So an art journal is an inexpensive way to try all the classes out and try all the different techniques, and then what you like, you can bring onto a canvas then. But you don't necessarily have to do it on the canvas first.
I like it for the journal's sake too. When you're done, you have that great little journal.
so much
and it's-
fun.
Talk about a book of inspiration.
Yes, 100%. And then you also have a place that you're keeping your art that you can go back, you know, a year, 2 years from now and look and go, wow, this is where I started and look where I am now.
Yes.
Or for inspiration, I like to go back over my ones from years ago, and because I always find something I forgot I did. I was
Exactly.
like, oh, I forgot about this technique, or I forgot about this color combination, or whatever it might be, but you have it right there.
Yes, I love that.
I always call it the artist playground.
Yes,
It's like
that's
you just
exactly
go
what
and
it
play
is.
and have fun. It's not on display, and yeah. Okay.
I just actually, while I was waiting for this to dry, put, instead of like little black in the windows, which would look like the black holes, I just did a blue, like just kind of a blue for your window. Which what you can do is take a teeny touch after a void, just a touch, and just put a little streak, kind of make it like it's a little shine in.
Yellow would be pretty too, because it would look like
a
it's
little
glowing.
candle in the window.
Mhm.
This would be cute as a Christmas one too, with
Would this be
snow
cute?
and little sheep out there. You could put
Oh,
Santa
you could
hats on
even do.
them.
Oh my gosh, so
Oh,
cute!
see,
Little
there's just
sheep
not
with
enough
Santa
time for all of
hats.
the ideas.
Oh my gosh, I am loving that idea. Loving it. I'm gonna put a little yellow.
I might do a little bit of a crisscross too with the white, just to make it look like the little what do you call them? Crisscross in the windows.
The frame?
Yeah, I guess.
Window frame?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, if it was a Christmas one, you could put the tree poking through. It's a big thing in Ireland. 2 candles in the window. That's a very typical Christmas theme. You could do that for Christmas, a little candle in the window.
I love how quick this comes together.
I'm leaving
too.
my little door red. You could, like I said, you can paint it a different color.
Yes,
The path, I'm going to put a little brown in.
fun that is. Oh my gosh, I love it.
I don't think we have a brown, but we'll just mix up
Oh,
something.
you know, another cool thing you could do with this. Are we giving you all like overload of ideas?
No.
I feel like, and then do this, and then do
Yeah.
this. It's hard to stay focused sometimes because the ideas, as you start going, especially when you're working with friends, it's like, oh, what about this? What about this? And this would make a really cute card. Like if you were doing like a Christmas theme with it, or even just like the one you're doing now, you photograph it, and there's places, I think Vistaprints might, anyway, there's places out there you can upload them and they'll make greeting cards out of them, right?
Around the beginning of December, we'll have a half price sale, so you could have your printed card half price. So I order them then, and on Vistaprint you can have your image on the front of the card, but you also can do your own greeting, and you can also design the back and put your
I didn't
logo.
realize that. That's nice.
But an easy way that I do a lot of little cards, and just to sell sometimes, is I buy the blank cards at Walmart or Hobby Lobby or Michael's. Comes in a pack of 25. They're kind of, they look a little watercolor papery kind of.
Yeah.
I go to CVS and have the prints made. I double side tape them to the front.
Oh.
I take a little mechanical pencil and sign my name or title them. And you can even, if you want, buy the little sleeves that they go in 4x6 sleeves that are self-sealing. If you want to sell them in the craft fairs and whatnot, they're like a little blank card, and your photo of your painting is on it. Or I've even done it with just photographs. But that's an inexpensive way to make cards that easily will impress your family and friends because they think you're so cool.
Because you are so cool.
But the Vistaprint, like if you want to do your big run for Christmas cards, is a great way because you can put whatever you want on all the sides, and you can pick a matte
you
or a
can
shiny
personalize
finish.
it, put your name in it, so
And
it's
for
already
half
there.
price, they're not expensive.
Oh, I love that idea.
So I'm just kind of making up a little neutrally color, which is not turning out the way I want. I just like a little beige or something in your path. It's just a little pathway, and some of them don't have paths. I don't have paths in all of my little cottages. Oh, we didn't address the little, the little rainbow. If you want to paint a rainbow, I went in and did. If I'm painting it over my sky, I just painted the rainbow white. Let it dry.
I'm going
my
to do that on mine,
pen,
so I'll show that.
and you can
here.
just fill it in. Yeah.
I'll show that here.
I think I painted it. Yeah, I did. I painted it white so the colors would be a little more brilliant.
Yeah, because when you have the colors down below and you're trying to get a true color, it's really helpful to put a base of white down, because that way when you put the colors on, they're
It'll
just
be much
nice and
easier to.
yeah.
I do my little fields just in shades of green. Actually, I do a little bit of a dark green at the base. So I'm going to kind of start with like a dark green, get into a middle green, and then a little lighter lime green across the top of the little hills, just to give it dimension. But I think I'm going to have to put a couple coats maybe. So I'm going to start with just that dark. This is like really a dark phthalo green with a little blue mixed in. It's almost a blue green. It's almost the color of my sky. It's a dark green. And I'm going to start that. And again, I paint sometimes a little fast because I want to blend wet and wet. But don't even worry about that when you're starting. Just get your colors in there, and on the second or third coat, then you can really blend it. But I am just getting that dark green on the bottom. And now I'll just add more yellow to that mixture, or if you have a lighter green, you could use that.
And just to share, this is going to be my rainbow. I'm bringing it right out of the roof of my house, but you could bring it anywhere you want
Yeah,
it.
you can put that anywhere.
And I just used the flat brush we were using earlier. I just used that one, same one I used for doing the sky. So I just basically did one stroke with that, kind of filled in, made sure it was, you know, white everywhere I wanted it white, and then just added a touch extra on the side. So basically just do it to the width that you want it.
And I'm just doing shades of green on mine, a little dark on the bottom, getting a little lighter. At the top, I'm actually just going with my yellow, which is very transparent, but I'm going to put it on. Maybe take a touch of white just to...
Is that green?
That's black.
That's black.
Oh, I have a dark phthalo green here for you too. Let's get more of that out.
Green, black, you know.
We're kind of using crazy supplies today too, what we have with us. So there's a little phthalo green there. And that, I like actually the phthalo green and just mixing with my primary yellow.
Yeah.
You get all the shades if you don't want to have all of the colors of paint. And I'm going to put a little bit of white across
how
the
you
top
did that.
there.
So a little dark on the bottom.
Yeah, and if you work right up, you just kind of dry off your brush, take just yellow, and you get the lighter shades going up.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It's fun to experiment. I can see my little spiral through my paint there a little bit.
Oh, that would
I
be
almost
fun.
don't hate
You know,
it though.
I don't hate it.
I kind of like it.
I could actually see doing that. Like, I'm not going to because I already have it on my
You
sky,
could do it on
but
the-
you could
if
do
you had
that
a
on the
bigger
grass
painting, I would do it on the
instead.
grass and just like a lighter
Wouldn't that be
shade.
cute?
Yep.
That would be nice. Okay.
So you always learn, even painting as many times as I have, I always learn something new. And it helps to paint with your friends because then you bounce ideas off of each other.
So much fun.
You could get a group of friends together and watch the videos and paint together. Wouldn't that be fun?
Absolutely. I think it's always more fun with friends.
Yeah.
That's my thought. You could even do it like on a Zoom, right? Like,
Yep.
because I know sometimes as artists, we sometimes think a little different, and occasionally we don't have the friends close by that do what we do, you know? So even if you have like friends that you've met in communities and that, you could get together on Zoom or whatnot and do little paint
We
sessions.
do that.
Yeah, we do. It's fun.
And we might just not even be chatting the whole time. We might just be painting along with each other.
Yeah,
and then
we do
just
that a
kinda
lot.
There just to sort of bounce ideas off each other and just connect. Actually, because we have little sheep going on here, we really don't need to worry about like spirals in the grass, but that would be kind of nice.
Oh, that's right. We've got the sheep. So I
The
forgot
little
about
sheep
the
are
poor
so
sheep.
simple. They
Sorry.
really are.
I forgot about them.
Oh, I paint right over the grass with them. I don't worry about putting them on now. I just do the little foreground and then we'll just place sheep where we want them. Yeah, there's fun.
And I love how easy you make this to be. You know, it doesn't have to be a big thing. It doesn't have to be hard.
Because we're
It's
doing
like
this
we're
for
just
fun.
having
We're
fun.
not doing this to like for anything else, but just in they're great little gifts though. I mean, we say we're doing it for fun, but these would be great little items if you have
people would
craft
love.
shows or you want to sell a little something that's not too difficult to make.
Now,
And again, we talked about personalizing. You can
Yes.
personalize them a little bit.
and you're okay with people using this design,
Yeah, please.
right?
I'd love to for you to use it, and I'd love to see what you do. So really, post on the page this page, my page, Michelle's page.
Yeah.
We'd love to see what you guys create as well.
Tag
That's
us.
so fun, yes.
Inner Journey Studios or Tinker's Art Cart.
Tinker's Cart.
Did
Art.
I say it wrong?
I say it wrong.
Tinker's
Tag
Cart
both of us.
Art.
Yes.
Sorry about
You'll
that.
find us, don't worry. So much fun. And I'd love to see what you guys are gonna do with yours.
Yeah, it's
Add
always
to
so
them.
much fun to see what everyone
You might
else
want to paint
does.
little cows, not sheep. You could do whatever you
A
want.
dog would be cute, or a cat.
Mhm. Whatever your thing is.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm gonna thin down some white and put a little smoke coming out of my cottage. Ooh,
How cute
chimney
is
round.
that?
Thin paint because I want it almost watercolory so that you'll see through it, so it looks a little like smoke. And because it's whimsical, I'm gonna make it kind of curly Q-ish. I might just kind of go right out of my little chimney and kind of just do that.
Yeah, I feel like when we call something whimsical, it really frees us up to not worry too much.
What is the word we made it before? Imperfect. What were we saying?
What did we
I
say?
forget now.
We'll have
To watch the
again.
video.
I feel like there's imperfect perfection.
Oh yes, definitely.
That wasn't what we said.
No, we had some little brainstorming idea.
Are you doing the white on your path then, or is that
I put
like
a highlight of white on it because I
like
wasn't even
that.
showing up, so I just brightened it up with a
All
little
right,
white on
okay.
top. Anything you could highlight. I think I'll go on and highlight my little roof.
Oh, with
I
some little
think I
patches.
did
What a cute
just my
idea.
yellow with some white, and I streaked my brush back and forth. Oh, look, I put a little half door on that one, actually.
Oh, look
So
at
that's
that.
kinda
You were
fun.
just talking about that.
Yeah,
How
that's
cute
kinda
is
fun, too.
that?
But I do want to put a little bit, so a lighter yellow with a little white, or yellow to your white. I keep the paint again thin because I want to streak the brush back and forth. I don't want it to be really heavy brush strokes that you can see every brush stroke. I'm just going to go and just streak it back and forth so it looks like straw. If it was a bigger roof, I might do layers of little strokes, but this is so small, we don't need a lot here. I'm just streaking it.
It is one of the fun things about working small is that, one, you can paint pretty quickly, and part of that is because you don't have to have all the detail to have the detail, you
Yes.
know?
Yep. Now my smoke is really watery, but I like the way it's gonna look just faded out a little bit. I like the night sky too. I like all. You could do clouds in your sky if you wanted. Oh, you know, it might be cute to do a little bit of a gray sky and just put little raindrops because it's raining in Ireland a lot of the time.
That's
That could
sweet.
work. Nice.
All right. What? Look at yours. It's so cute.
I might spiral in my yellow.
Isn't that fun? All of them turn out cute. I cannot wait to see what everybody does
I
with
do.
this.
That's my favorite part.
Because
See
we'll
what
have
you guys
some that
paint.
do like we do, and then we'll have some people that take it and make it their own,
Yeah.
which I cannot wait to see. You know, it would be really cute, I think a little bigger canvas, but to do this and do like a Van Gogh sky.
Oh yeah, starry sky.
Starry,
Yes.
starry.
I'm just taking my brush with my yellow and doing exactly what we did for the white. I just spiraled it on there, and I might take a little white on top just to blend it so it's not so bright. You might like to leave it just like this. You might want to just tone it down a little bit. And I love dragging that little bit of rough paint around the edge. And remember, I'm showing you this close, and we're looking at them close, but people aren't going to see them. They're going to see them far away, so let's not dwell on any
that
little.
works. Yeah,
Yes, that's
not too
perfect.
bright.
Perfect.
It's a nice,
Love
bright,
it.
sunny day in Ireland.
Yeah.
It just rained, that's why we have the rainbow coming out.
Right.
All right, so
Is
now...
your rainbow? I would maybe do it with your sketching, but make sure it's dry before you touch that. Little tacky still. Have it nice
Well,
and
you know
dry.
what I could do?
We could paint our
So
sheep first.
I'm gonna paint my rainbow first, the colors, and
And
then
put the right.
yeah, and you won't
sketch
see
on.
it. I'll post it later, but that way,
Do you wanna see
if it was my Sharpie, I would do it. But you know, we
I know.
borrowed the
and it kills the
Sharpies,
Sharpies if the paint's.
so I don't want to ruin somebody else's
But
Sharpie.
Put that in with.
All right,
that
how
way.
many do we have? We have
If you wanna do them all.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. Will give us 7 colors, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Will give us 6 colors.
And I will never forget because in high school I learned that the colors of the rainbow. Roy G. Biv.
Yeah.
Yep. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. That's how I remember my colors in the order that they go.
I still have to do that.
I do it all the time. Oh,
well,
yeah.
now I know the red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. But I still use my fingers to do it almost every time. But sometimes I have to remember the Roy G. Biv.
Yep. And so little sheep you can just place where you want. They're so simple. I'll show you how I start them while Mychele sketches her little rainbow. And then the rainbow is just painting the colors, really. A few coats. You're going to need a few coats to get the coverage on that. I like to have good coverage. And I just start my little sheep with their little fluffy bodies, and I make them gray-blue. You can see I'm a colorful painter. I don't like using a lot of gray or black, so I always mix some blue in with it. And so I'm mixing just a blue-gray. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
And now I'm just done in green kind of.
We're used to painting on our own and
Oh,
having
that's good.
complete control.
But this is fun. So I'm going to mix up a little tiny bit of black, tiny bit of blue, and some white, and make a blue-gray, like a slate gray kind of. I'll do that over here. We're using this paper plate that has like little dots on it, look like dots of paint, so it's kind of like throwing me a little bit, but it's all work out in the end. And I find the paint again is a little thick, so I just keep adding a little water when I need to.
Oh, this is a little thicker. Let me use that. So I get asked a lot, Cheryl, I don't know if you do too, like, what's the difference between the artist acrylics versus the craft acrylics? And my first thing is always use what you have. So there's nothing wrong with using craft acrylics for your paintings. I use them all the time. The big difference starts to become, you can even see on here a little bit. So the craft paints will be generally runnier. They don't have as strong of a coverage, whereas the artist ones will usually stay in place. They're a little more heavy bodied. So you will often get a better coverage initially for it, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're better. It's really what you're comfortable with and what you like using. So right now, Cheryl and I are using a mixture of both. We're kind of going back and forth with them. And I'm finding for the rainbow, because I want a little more coverage, I'm really liking the artist ones, but I can use the craft ones just as easily. I'm actually gonna mix them, and you can mix them. I'm mixing some of the artist one with the craft right now to create my orange.
I like there's all different
Except I have no
prices as we get into the different types of paint. I find the Liquitex liquids, I've been just playing around with and I really like them.
Yeah, they're a good quality.
And they're a 4 ounce bottle. And these are just the Liquitex and the heavy bodies, which I love as well, especially if you're landscape painting and you want some texture. But if you compare like the Liquitex, and you find them at the craft stores too, in the art department more than the craft section, and it's 4 ounces, and I think they might be about $5. So you're not talking like a lot more money than you're paying for your 2 ounce, because you're getting 4 ounces. And there's a particular colors that I like, which if you follow me over on social media, I'm going more into that now, of what the colors are that I use. And then in some cases I use the Deco Art. I like the Deco Art for the craft paint brand. We're not like affiliates or anything like that. We're just saying what we like. We're just
sharing what we enjoy.
But black and white for the Americana. I love the Tuscan red. It's the only red that I use.
Yeah,
for everything. Nice I love this red. It's a nice deep red, which if you want it more orangey or more like more of a cad, you could add a little tiny bit of yellow. It makes beautiful colors. So you don't need a lot of paints. You could start with just a handful and mix what you need, which is good education too, because then you learn how to make the colors. You can certainly go and buy all the fun colors after, but it's nice to have a little base of mixing some of your primaries, and you'll find lots of videos and information up there on mixing.
And Cheryl and I both share stuff like that in our tutorials and classes.
Yeah.
We share a lot about how to mix your colors, and because ultimately it's nice to have just a handful of colors that you can make everything from.
Yes. And then like we all go to the store and see the teals, because I love teal and pinks and purples. And, yeah, you can always add that sort of thing.
And then it is also as well fun to have colors that are pre-mixed, because sometimes I don't want to mix my colors.
And if it's a color I use a lot, like I use buttermilk a lot, which is like an ivory, so I buy the big jar of Deco Art for that, because I could mix it
I'm
easily,
like that with
but
whites and blacks, although I don't use black a whole lot anymore. I tend to do more mixing for, I think you were talking about that just a little
or
bit
if you
ago.
have a Payne's Gray, which is like a blue black to start with, is kind of nice too.
Yeah.
I'm just touching the sides of my canvas up just to finish this off a little bit, since I'm waiting a little bit for my green to dry still. I put some sheep on there, but it's dragging a little of the green in, so I'm going to just let that sit for a little bit and just get my sides done.
Oops.
Very simply. And yeah, the green's dry. It's just taking a little longer. I don't know why. I think it was a little heavier maybe.
I'm just putzing away here on my rainbow.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that fun?
It just adds a little something to the whole painting. Brings in the colors you used in your patches, which is nice.
And then I'll show you all in just a minute. Do we have, oh, we've got a clipper right here.
Yeah. And you can make some bigger sheep in the foreground and get them littler as you go back, almost down to being this little white dots towards the back if you wanted to put a few more in. And I'm going to show you the shade of this color in a second and the shapes that I'm just starting with.
Oh, I just had a great idea. I didn't do this on mine, but how cute would it be if your chimney is where the rainbow started from, like it was coming out of the house.
Yeah.
So it'd be little right where the chimney was and then went wider. That'd be so cute. I didn't do that, but I thought of that
a
as
gold
I
sitting up there, and then we can get crazy. And then a little leprechaun, and then a little and then
and then they'll all have Santa hats for Christmas. The tree will be a rainbow tree.
Right.
So I love how that rainbow looks. I'm gonna tighten it up later. Like I said, I won't do it while we're recording because it's gonna take a while for that to dry, but I will in a little bit.
And if you can see I know this is really hard to see, but it's just a little blue-gray shade that I've been base coating my little sheep in. I make them oval and I make them round to start. And then they kind of create themselves because the round ones tend to kind of end up as being little front-facing sheep, and then the ones that are oval become sort of side-facing. Sometimes I put little legs on them, and sometimes I put little legs and little faces. Sometimes I tuck their legs just as little lines and they're lying down. So they're fun to play with, and they really do sort of take a little life of their own on once you just get these little shapes. When that's dry, we'll put some white fluffy fur on them. And then with black, I just put their little features and their little legs.
And you just put them wherever, yeah?
Yep, wherever you want. I like your yellow windows too. It looks like it's warm and bright and cozy inside your little cottage.
Yeah.
Fun.
I know, I kind of want to go to Ireland now and buy a cottage.
Ooh, right?
Do you ever feel that way? Like
all
you
the
paint
time.
something and think I want to go
recently
into
the
that?
great grandfather's cottage was for sale. My cousin sent me a little thing
Oh.
about it. It's like, we've talked about that a lot, and that would be cool. But I have lots of family, so I can visit, and I don't think I need to buy a cottage, but it is kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it's hard when you live in Florida to give up the sunshine, I think.
I couldn't live with all the rain.
Yeah,
it's
I
beautiful.
would
It's
struggle
beautiful,
with that.
but I like the sunshine too. So, but beautiful there, and the water and the ocean, and you really appreciate those sunny days. That's for sure. Nice. These are teeny. If you were doing bigger ones, you could do the same technique, but they would be just a little more detailed because I just take just straight white paint and kind of just squiggle on top of them, just kind of pat on.
Oh, I like that idea.
Like if they were really big, you can almost get into doing your spirals kind of, but I'm just patting on it. And I don't mind the paint being thick for this because I want it to be sort of a little textured, like little fluffy sheep. And I'm almost just patting on thick white paint, and I'll bring it up and show it to you. And if you pat it on, it almost gets that fluffy look, like their little,
Do we have a little more white there?
Yeah, a little more white here.
Yeah, I've got mine
Right here
with too
for
much
you.
blue.
Oops,
Thank you.
a lot came out, but that's all right.
We'll use it.
And just pat it on there. And I'm not really covering every bit because I don't mind that blue-gray showing through here and there. But it makes a nice base because just by adding that bright white, you've created shading. And when you have your darks and lights, highlights and shadows, the element looks more three-dimensional, I think.
Oh, so cute.
I have a little bit of a green gray mix for my base because the green was wet, but I don't think it really matters. We're not worried about all the little bits and pieces. Yeah.
It all works out.
Yeah.
Somehow
And when you
it
start
just
doing
works
this, it
out.
almost like I said, takes, like this one looks like this is where the head will go because it's just the way the
Yeah,
little,
you can kind of see how
and
they're
really they're just little blobs. They look like little
Little
clouds, kind
blobs.
of. They are.
little
You
sheep
see,
blobs.
I blobbed on a little bit of heavier white there. And then
And I've got one that's
now
a
I've
little
put my
green.
shirt in there. So I've put my shirt, dragged it through, and easy to fix acrylics too. Don't fuss. Acrylics are great because this is a little wet. I drag my paint through it. I'm taking a paintbrush with just some clean water and I'm wiping it off. If you didn't notice it and it dried, you simply paint over it. If you paint this whole painting and don't like it, paint right over it.
Yep.
You can start over. So that's why we're not
Oh, I
stressing.
love that
We're
about
able to just
acrylic.
paint over.
Yeah.
And I'm going to put little heads and legs on them, and then that's pretty much
That's
it.
pretty much all.
Because I don't want to go too long. I forget how long our segment should be. I think we're
I don't know.
maybe a little longer, but so I think I'll come up and put their little
Maybe a
pictures
little
on in
longer.
front of the camera so you can see it. And
I
because
feel
it's
like
so
it'll be
simple.
okay.
Oh yeah, because we kind of tend to.
Well, we both talk a lot when we do our
Oh, I know.
tutorials. Hopefully, you still learn a lot. But then when we're together,
Yeah, we have to do this more though.
Yeah,
Why don't we get
isn't this
together
fun?
like once
Let's
a
do
month and do
this.
this?
I
It's
love
gonna be
that.
fun. And you guys can tell us what you want us to paint.
Yeah, let us know.
Maybe
That would be fun,
It
right?
could be like
Yeah, let
it
us
could
know
be
in the
like
comments what subjects you would like us to paint. What would be fun for
Yeah,
you?
or look through our pages
And
or
see what we
our
have.
sites and see what we
Yeah.
have. So really, this is super simple.
Now, Cheryl, let me ask, did you water down?
I
Is
watered
it
down
black?
the black
And you
because
just watered it down?
no,
Okay.
you could leave this sit till tomorrow and do it with your Sharpie too if you wanted to,
Oh,
if you
yeah,
felt
that'd
more
be-
comfortable.
that'd be good.
I just use a little,
Oh, we can't see you.
Oh,
Pull it up a little
boop.
bit. There we go.
I'm just doing a little oval shape. That's their heads. And I do give them little ears. I just give them two little little ears.
Oh my gosh.
I
That
know.
is the
It's
cutest.
look at the photos. We'll add photos in there, and you can see. So if it's like a ovally shape, I put a little head, this like a little thing there, maybe a couple of ears.
Lit up just.
Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm
Well,
sorry.
it was
Thank you,
still
Mychele.
there, but I think it will help.
I know it's
when you
hard to
see it.
paint sideways and
How
upside
about I
down.
hold it while you paint it? Why don't I hold
You
it?
think? Don't drag anything into
Nope.
your. Okay, so this is a little oval shape. I'll put a little head there. It's just a little oval shape I'm painting, a couple of ears if you want. And the legs are just little sticks. Sometimes it's just two. You don't really see them on that dark bit, but just little legs. He only has 3 legs. No one's going to ever notice. This little guy has a little head right in the middle because he's facing us forward. Little head, couple little ears, and 2 little legs. That's all there is to these little guys.
Oh my
Little
gosh.
couple little legs here. This guy's facing forward again. I would probably wait till
Wait
that
until your paint's a
dry,
little more dry.
but you could just pop that in. Couple little lines for ears.
Oh my
couple
gosh.
legs.
How adorable.
It could be sideways. That's his poor guy. He could be backwards facing. That could be his back end. But let's give him a face. There. Simple as that. That's all
Oh my
you need.
gosh.
And as you get further back, you could just do little white dots almost, and that's little sheep back in the field.
And look
if
when you,
want.
again, from a distance,
Yeah.
look how
I think it
fabulous
adds something
that
to
is.
them.
This is probably why we always have paint on everything
Oh,
we
of course.
own,
Oh,
right?
good, you got some too.
That's okay. It just adds, right? It adds to the shenanigans.
And because we're kind of not in our native environment and we're both painting, I know it's a little far away for you guys. Generally when we're painting and doing our classes,
Yeah,
you are
we do
looking
like
right on top of
overhead
our
and stuff.
paintings. But this is more, we're having a little fun today. And like I said, if you want to go to YouTube, I think you probably will find a really detailed class on this project. And if you don't find it, send me a message and I'll make sure you get the link.
Yeah, I don't know how you did that wet on wet. I'm gonna have to wait
It's
on
not
mine
easy to,
'cause
yeah, I would, like,
think
I
I'm
would,
gonna have to
it would
wait.
great to do with a little paint marker or a Sharpie, that little detail.
Yeah, I'm gonna do mine once it dries because I apparently do not have that skill that you have.
Oh,
Cheryl,
I
to
just
do it.
blobbed it on a little bit heavier when I had to. Like, they're so fun.
Yeah,
they're
so
fun to
cute.
do. Like,
I
they're so
love
goofy
them
looking,
too.
like, but they're fun. I like them.
I think that's what makes them so adorable is just how goofy looking they
Yeah.
are, you know?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's okay too, because it could have a little highlight on its face, so if a little bit does show. I'll just show you a little bit of these guys, just for reference, you know, see how there's fluffy ones, there's skinnier ones. And you can see a little better on these two, because it's much bigger canvas. But can you see how I just did 2 little lines for ears there? If they're bigger and you want to just put 2 little white dots for eyes, you could do that. So that's about it. I think that's.
Yeah,
I think we're good. I think
Got a few
this was
details I'll
really
do
fun.
later, but
I hope you guys
I love
had fun
this.
too, and enjoy the
Yes.
whole day of projects.
Oh,
It's been fun
what
watching
a
all
fun
the
day.
projects.
I
Yeah,
love
I
seeing
love
what
this.
everyone's coming up with. So let's show one more time side by
Our
side.
guys, yes.
Yay. And we'll share pictures later on in the group also. And definitely please tag us, Tinker's Cart Art. I should know that by now. Tinker's Cart Art and Inner Journey Studios, or Cheryl Hughes and Mychele Boardman,
Yep.
whichever. We
Great to
answer
paint
to all
with
of
you
them.
guys.
Thank you.
We will see you soon. We'll paint
Bye-bye.
again. Bye bye now.